Hey there, everyone. I'm James Milan. Happy holidays to you all. This is the Town Hall Update, and I am joined by our town manager, Jim Feeney, for what may be the last update of this calendar year. Anyway, a full one as usual. We'll get an update on the water service line inventory that we spoke about some time ago. We'll get a transportation update, and then we'll learn about a new grant the town received to design updates to part of the Minuteman Bikeway. Almost can't have an update without a grant announcement. Anyway, first, not only are we in the holiday season, as I mentioned, but we are also in the season of getting ready for spring town meeting and the annual election, which will be here, I'm sure, before we know it. So, Jim, tell us what residents and prospective candidates should know.
Sure. Thank you, James. So the select board has set the date for the annual town election. It will be on Saturday, March 28th in 2026. So with setting the date for the election, now we need to figure out who the candidates are going to be on the ballot. So nomination papers will be made available on December 12th. So that's Friday, December 12th. They can be secured at the clerk's office at Town Hall. The 12th is a Friday, so please know the Town Hall hours in the clerk's office on Fridays are 8 a.m. To 12 noon. So certainly if you want to learn more about the dates or get some additional information about how to run for town meeting or other elected townwide office, such as the select board or school committee, you can visit arlingtonma.gov/elections to learn more. So that's the town election, but that also means town meeting will be upon us before we know it. So town meeting begins on Monday, April 27th, 2026 at 8 p.m. But the warrant for the annual town meeting is already open. The select board served notice and it was opened on December 5th. And it will close on Friday, January 30th, 2026 at 12 noon. So the warrant article that folks wish to submit should be submitted to the office of the select board, and you can download the packet that explains how to do so online on the select board website. And if you are interested in submitting a warrant article this year, on December 18th, we will be having a virtual warrant article workshop. So this will discuss how to prepare and submit an article for town meeting. This is the 5th annual warrant article workshop. It's hosted by the Envision Arlington Civic Engagement Group and will take place again on Thursday, December 18th from starting at 7 p.m. via Zoom. This is a good opportunity for residents or town meeting members or anyone else interested in submitting a warrant article to get advice and ask questions of the town moderator. And I do believe, as is typically the case, town council will be there as well to help advise and make sure that the materials you submit are sound and meet the standards so that they can be included on the warrant for town meeting.
Well, I think I understand why you would headline this particular announcement for this town hall update, because everybody gets caught up in holiday planning and holiday activities, etc. But these things are important as well, and you need to just make sure that if you are interested in either being a candidate or writing or submitting a warrant article, now's the time to get on it. So,
yep.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about the grant for the bikeway.
Sure. So we received a $94,000 grant from what's called Mass Trails. So it's a Mass Trails grant. We're very fortunate, obviously, to have the Minuteman Bikeway sort of bifurcate the town. And we have had a project under the visioning process for designing some improvements at the Minuteman Bikeway's intersection with the Ed Burns Arena and Ryder Street, which is really a very busy locus. So this $94,000 grant will help us further the design of potential improvements at that location. They may include a splitter island, wayside pull-off areas with seating and bike racks. We're looking to do more and new native plantings, additional trees, and more. So this funding will help us advance this project to a final design. We will sort of tracking to have a public information session in the spring once we have our designer on board, and we hope that we will have completed that design by late summer of 2026. We are contributing some of funding through the town's capital plan, but the desire here will be to get a shovel-ready design that we can then put back into the grant queue next year for pursuing construction dollars to sort of redesign this really busy intersection on the bike path.
Okay, so it could take a little while for it all to actually come to fruition, but that, very important. I think anybody who's spent time on the bike path knows that that crossing area right at the where you're mentioning, right at the Ed Burns Arena, it needs some attention for sure.
For sure.
Great. And now we've got a local transportation update.
Sure. So something that's been a while in the making, but I'm happy to report is now finalized, is that the town of Arlington now has a true 25 mile per hour townwide speed limit. So we had set a townwide speed limit back in 2017 of 25 miles per hour per some changes to state legislation at the time, but many streets in Arlington, including many of our main streets, were still governed by what are called special speed regulations that had been set forth by Mass DOT in the 1970s, and those were still in full force and effect on many of Arlington's roads. So we had a bit of a confusing framework in terms of what the speed limit was and where, with it being posted at different speed limits in different places. So over the course of the past year, we've made a series of requests to Mass DOT to make all of our roadways align with the townwide 25 mile per hour speed limit. So those requests were approved earlier this year, and that set into motion a number of other steps that we have to take out in the field to implement that. And in implementing and starting to install the new signage, which is a yellow advisory sign, as opposed to what used to be the black and white speed limit signs, we did start posting the speed limit signage at an increased frequency to serve as a more constant reminder to drivers on those roadways. And obviously the goal here is hopefully by having a single and lower default speed limit townwide, and we're actually starting to add safety zones, which have a 20 mile per hour speed limit in selected areas. We're just really hoping to reduce vehicle speeds, create a more pedestrian and bicycle friendly environment, and encourage safer driving practices across town. So can confidently state that all roads in Arlington, except for what we know is the Route 2 service drive, which runs along Route 2 on the Arlington side, have a 25 mile per hour speed limit, unless they are a safety zone, which lowers that speed limit to 20 miles per hour. Think of a school zone. Many of the safety zones are already in effect around our schools, but at the recommendation of the Transportation Advisory Committee, the Select Board has approved 5 new safety zones in 2025. They're in the Arlington Heights Business District, where we are right now, and on Summer Street between Mill and Mystic Streets in an area targeting Buzzell Field and the Arlington Catholic Fields. So those ones have their signage in place now. The Select Board also recently approved safety zones on Mass Ave in Arlington Center and East Arlington, and then also on parts of Irving Street up near the Parmenter School building. So those ones were only recently approved, and they will get their 20 mile per hour signs in the spring when the ground thaws. So I just wanted to bring this up today and give my kudos to the Select Board and Transportation Advisory Committee for their work on moving these initiatives forward. And especially to thank Public Works and our Highway Supervisor, Jeff Reichman, for all the work that followed these simple votes and these paperwork exercises, but we had to get out there, and the Highway Division removed 30 plus existing speed limit signs, but then installed over 100 new 25 mile per hour speed limit signs over the course of the summer and the fall, in addition to the work they're already doing every day behind the scenes. So I just wanted to take a moment to call out their efforts on this initiative to try to make Arlington's roads safer.
Yeah, trying to make Arlington's roads safer. Good point. 25 miles an hour now being the limit, absolutely. I think that is also going to help as we head solidly now into this season of early darkness, total darkness in a lot of places, and we've talked often about the crosswalks in town, et cetera. So hopefully people will take this very seriously, and that will indeed serve public safety well. Okay, last thing I think on our list, and I don't know how big a thing it's going to be because I remember it was the first time you explained it, and that is the water service line inventory.
Sure. So it seems it's been about a year since we spoke about this last. Obviously, this is a very big project for a community the size of Arlington and with such intricate water infrastructure. But I'm pleased to report that through the Department of Public Works, we have made substantial progress in our efforts to comply with the Mass DEP and the federal EPA lead and copper rules, or LCRR as we know them. The LCRR requires all public water systems, frankly, across the country, to complete an inventory of all of their water service lines that are connected to the distribution system by 2027 and develop a lead service line replacement plan to remove them fully by October of 2037. So we have made a lot of progress on identification and remediation already in the first year of this program. It's really quite remarkable. So all but 3 of our known lead service lines have already been removed or identified as non-lead, and the others are already scheduled for replacement. And Public Works has been going through the unknown service line material types in our inventory, and over the past year they've identified 1,000 of them. So while there's still a lot of work that remains, I believe there's still another about 2,300 water service lines that we need to work to identify. That is like a substantial amount of effort in 1 year. And for those that we still don't know the material type, as we did at this time last year, we're going to be sending out another letter to those properties that have an unknown water service type. Please read that letter if you get it and follow the instructions. Or if you're just curious, know that if you didn't get a letter, or perhaps if you haven't got your letter yet, certainly go to the town's website. We have this wonderful GIS tool for our water line inventory that can be found on the Water Division page of Public Works. You can look up your address and it'll tell you if it's a known material, what that material is, perhaps its age, or if it's unknown material, it'll tell you the steps you can take because it requires further action, and it will prompt you with those next steps. So, we also have our work cut out for us in identifying water service materials on the side that the town owns. So we own the portion from the water main in the street to the service valve, usually in the sidewalk, and then the resident would own the side from the service valve into the house, which can be visually inspected and identified in the basement to determine the service material type. But for the town to identify the pipe type that we own, we have to do sort of a test pit excavation, usually in the grass strip, to try to get down and identify through visual inspection what type of material is in place so that we can then document it as a known material. So just wanted to talk about that today to let folks know that they would be getting another letter similar to the one they received each year, and this will be an annual process until we've identified all of the service lines in our inventory, but just also to take a moment to thank our outstanding Public Works team for their work to getting us towards LCRR compliance. Obviously, Mike Rademacher, the director, is leading the effort as a whole, but our GIS director, Susan Brunton, built this incredible inventory and map and tool that has been instrumental in documenting our progress in this, what I'll call, journey, but also our engineering division has done a lot of records review and field investigation, and specifically our new civil engineer, Matt Doble, has put in a lot of time and effort on this. And then, of course, when these letters go out to, more than a couple thousand households, that places a burden on our water division. So, Jean Dan and her team in terms of taking in those calls and scheduling house visits, and then Brian Mount, our supervisor of our water and sewer division, for then scheduling our crews to go out there and do house visits and inspections, and just an outstanding team effort with all of the notifications, the phone calls and emails that come from us doing a mass mailing. So just great team effort. Want to thank them for their progress.
Great calling out of all the people whose names people are not familiar with, but whose work is absolutely instrumental.
Make this place run.
Yep. For sure. All right, I think that wraps up the official business for today. I don't know if you want to take advantage of, us going mid-December here. If you want to speak the Arlington audience?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think first I just want to call out the fire department. They did have to respond to a 2-alarm fire in East Arlington last week, and they were able to extinguish it quickly in really frigid temperatures that day. And want to thank our surrounding communities. I know for the mutual aid they sent, I believe Cambridge, Medford, Somerville, Woburn, Belmont, and Lexington were all involved. So it shows just how sophisticated of a mutual aid system there is that we benefit from, and that we provide similar support to our surrounding communities when they're in need. But beyond that, I just want to wish everyone in the community a safe and happy holiday season. Very grateful for you tuning in, and look forward to continuing this next year.
Great. And we wish you happy holiday. You have earned it for sure this year and every year. So he is Jim Feeney, our town manager, and this is the Town Hall Update. We will see you all next in 2026, and we do hope, all of us, that you have a safe, happy, warm holiday, and we will see you in next year.